All right, delegates, as you are trying to fix your names, if you will send in the Q&A chat what your name should be, so your first, last name, and then which division in the and then your state abbreviation, and then we can rename you ourselves. Delegates, we are still in the process of changing your names and taking roll, so thank you for bearing with us. We will be starting the business session shortly. If you look through the attendees list and you see that someone from your state is not here, please send them a message telling them to join so we can get the business session on. Guys, we're using a different version of Zoom. This is a webinar version of Zoom. So you will only be able to see the participants, or the, I'm sorry, the panelist that I move up to the panelist section. You won't be able to see the other attendees or anything like that. So this is not what you're probably used to on Zoom. This is just to keep it a little bit more streamlined in terms of seeing the candidates and making the business session run a little bit more effectively. We will go through how you can, raise your hand to speak or something like that later on once we start the business session. But just hang on right now. Bear with us as we get roll called and change your names. But we do understand that this is maybe a little frustrating. It looks different, but we are working here with you. Okay. Again, delegates, if you're just coming in, please send us a Q&A with what your name should be stated as. So first name, parentheses, what division you represent. So an S for secondary, PS/C for post-secondary collegiate, then a hyphen with your state abbreviation. It'll go a lot faster if you don't send us just a name check or is my name correct. If you'll just send us what your name should be, we can get this done a lot quicker. Again, attendees, this is not a normal Zoom room, so you won't be able to see other attendees. All you'll be able to see are the panelists, which will be the executive council and I, as well as the candidates once they get into the room. You will not be able to see the other voting delegates or anything like that. You will just be able to see those who I deem a panelist and move into the panelist section. You can't see the attendees list, anything like that. All you should be able to do is raise your hand and ask a question. Your hand will be lowered by the EC as we take attendance. We are just changing your names, not lowering your hands. So keep your hand raised still if your name is changed. say that. Delegates, you will receive your login information for voting further into the business session. Please don't worry about that right now. Candidates, I will be moving you to panelists. Please turn your cameras off until we get started. Thank you. Brooke Anderson. All right, Brooke Anderson, Ara Patel, Abby Gulas. Please use the Q&A section to send us what your name should say. So first and last name, your division, and your state. Also, if there are any candidates in the attendees area, please also send a Q&A with candidate behind your name so we can get you renamed. Zarin Makma, Jansen Wong, Keyshawn Davis, Zinfu, Kiana Kneist, Olivia Burgess, Chris Studi. Again, please, then you few, please send in the Q&A what your name should say so we can get that changed for you. We are still doing the roll call voting delegates. We will get started shortly. Thank you for bearing with us. We know that even after a year of Zoom, it still likes to throw curveballs every once in a while, but thank you for bearing with us. We'll get started with the business session very soon. Abby Goulas, please again send your what your name should be in the Q&A section. We need to get that changed so we can take roll of Again, Abby Goulas, please send us a Q&A at the bottom of your screen about as to what, there we go. Yes, guys, the chat feature is disabled. You have to use the Q&A to communicate with us. Benedict Palma, also please send us a message in the Q&A section of what your name should be so we can get that changed. Again, Benedict Palma, please send us a message so we can get your name changed. Kiana Kneist, also again, please send a message in the Q&A of what your name should be. We've just got a few more people to get checked in, guys, and then we'll get started. All right. Daniel Akinremi, are you registered under a different name than your Zoom name? Please answer in the Q&A. Keyshawn Davis from Florida, are you registered as a voting delegate or are you subbing out for another Florida delegate? Please answer in the Q&A. Okay. Kirlos Azir, same thing. Are you registered as a voting delegate or are you subbing in for another New Jersey delegate? Please answer in the Q&A section. Yeah. We're just waiting on a few more delegates, folks, and then we'll turn our cameras on. For those of you watching the YouTube stream, same thing, we'll turn our cameras on here shortly. We're just finishing up roll call and then we will get started. Keyshawn Davis from Florida, please put in the Q&A who you are subbing in for, which voting delegate you are subbing in for. Folks, please still stay with us. We are just about to get started. We just have one or two more voting delegates to get checked in. Then we will turn our cameras on and get into the meat of things and the fun of it. The annual business session of the Delegate Assembly for the 2021 Virtual International Leadership Conference of HOSA-Future Professionals will now come to order. To ensure our session runs effectively and according to Robert's Rules of Order, I am pleased to have with us the registered parliamentarian for the business session, Mr. Kelly Barnes. Thank you, Mr. Barnes, for being here. LJ Passion, Eastern Region Vice President, has been appointed as the Secretary for the business session today. Madam Secretary, are all voting delegates present in the voting delegate meeting?
Yes, Mr. President. All voting delegates are present in the voting delegate virtual meeting area.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Madam Secretary, please proceed with the roll call of the Executive Council officers.
Officers, please respond by stating the duties of your office. Board Representative Jennifer Acolo.
Our duties are to represent the membership of HOSA on the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors, attend all official board meetings, participate on all committee conference calls, and serve the organization in any capacity as directed by the President.
Thank you. Vice Presidents Shreya Shrestha, Addison Sorensen, and LJ Passion.
It is our duty as vice presidents to encourage in membership and leadership to serve on the nominating committee and to render our services in any way possible to help achieve the goals we strive to meet in our respective regions.
Thank you. Post-secondary collegiate vice president Emily Hathcock.
It is my duty to facilitate the continued growth and membership for the post-secondary collegiate division of HOSA, represent the division on the nominating committee, and serve the members as they continue their involvement in the organization through their post-secondary and collegiate education.
Thank you. President-elect Sricharan Pusala.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. My duties are to assist the President, preside in his absence, serve on the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors, succeed the President's term of office, and fulfill any other assigned responsibilities I may be asked to assume.
Thank you. Mr. President, Jake Kelly, your duties.
As your president, it is my duty to preside at HOSA's virtual International Leadership Conference, serve on the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors, and represent HOSA at special functions. I must see that the mission of this organization is moved forward during my tenure as president.
Thank you, Executive Council members. Mr. President, all officers are accounted for and present.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. May we now have the roll call of the voting delegate.
Mr. President, members had to sign in to the Zoom meeting using their full name, membership division, and state. The list has been verified and all voting delegates are accounted for.
Thank you, Madam. Because HOSA's governing documents do not allow for the use of virtual meetings, any business transacted and actions taken in the name of the organization by the voting delegates today must be ratified at the next annual meeting. This action was approved by HOSA's Executive Committee, and the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors was notified regarding the process. Since this is a virtual business session, please keep the following special rules in mind. Voting delegates must remain signed in to the virtual meeting using their full name, division, and abbreviated state for recognition and inclusion in the minutes. Voting delegates must also participate for the full duration of the meeting, which concludes with the announcement of the new Executive Council team. In the event of a runoff vote, you must stay online in order to vote again. Voting delegates are responsible for their connection to the internet and teleconference. No action will be invalidated on the grounds that the loss of or poor quality of a member's individual connection prevented their participation in the business session, provided that at least a quorum of members was connected and the appropriate voting threshold was achieved. Voting delegates must have a charged cell phone or tablet to use to vote. Voting will be done via the Simply Voting platform. The chair may cause or direct the temporary disconnection or muting of a person's connection if it is causing undue interference with the electronic meeting. The chair's decision to do so will be announced during the meeting and recorded in the minutes. To seek recognition by the chair, a voting delegate will use the raise hand icon. Upon recognition of a member, the chair will lower all raise hand icons. A voting delegate intending to make a main motion or offer an amendment may not do so during the business session, as the last possible time to submit a main motion or amendment is 8 p.m. Thursday evening. Please refer to your voting delegate packet for more information. Voting delegates may still make subsidiary, incidental, and privileged motions during the business session using the Q&A window once acknowledged by the chair. The Q&A window is restricted to the following purposes: to provide a link to a document that cannot be displayed on the screen, for voting information, any nominations from the floor, or any purpose stated in Special Rule Number 6. The use of the chat window is disabled to allow for more efficient and direct manner of answering questions. Instead, please direct questions to the Q&A window located on your lower Zoom panel. These rules will be formally moved by the Rules and Arbitrations Committee at the proper time. The next item of business is the Credentials and Tellers Report. Addison Sorensen, our Central Region Vice President, will present the Credentials and Tellers Committee report.
There are a total of 8,847 registered delegates for the 2021 HOSA Virtual International Leadership Conference. The number of credentialed voting delegates registered for the 2021 business session are as follows. There are 140 secondary members registered as voting delegates and 16 post-secondary collegiate members registered as voting delegates. On behalf of the Credentials and Tellers Committee, I move that the roll of registered voting delegates hereby submitted be the official roll of the voting delegates for HOSA's 2021 Virtual International Leadership Conference business session.
A motion from a committee does not require a second. The motion before the Assembly is to adopt the roll of registered voting delegates submitted by the Credentials and Tellers Committee. This will be the official roll of the voting delegates for HOSA's 2021 Virtual International Leadership Conference business session. Are there any questions for the Credentials and Tellers Committee report? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please vote by using the raise hand icon located on the bottom bar. Again, all those in favor of the motion from the Credentials and Tellers Committee report, please use the raise hand icon. Please keep your hand raised until we lower your hand. All right. Thank you. All those opposed, please also vote using the raise hand icon. Thank you. The affirmatives have it. The motion is adopted, and the report submitted by the Credentials and Tellers Committee will be the official roll of voting delegates for HOSA's 2021 Virtual International Leadership Conference business session. A quorum is present, and we may now transact business. Shreya Shrestha, Western Region Vice President, will present the Rules and Arbitration Committee report.
The President shall appoint, with the approval of the Board of Directors, a parliamentarian to serve as consultant to the business session, as stated in the bylaws. Directly following the call to order of the conference, the Credentials Committee shall report on the number of delegates and alternates registered as present with the proper credentials, the total number of persons registered for the conference, and shall make a supplementary report after the opening exercises at the beginning of each day that business continues. Directly following the Credentials Committee report, the chairman of the Rules and Arbitration Committee, or the designee, shall present the report to the conference delegates by reading the proposed rules in their entirety, regardless of any previous distribution. Representative delegates from a majority of the chartered associations shall constitute a quorum. The voting delegates shall be members selected by HOSA chartered associations. If an alternate is to replace a registered delegate, the Credentials Committee must approve proper evidence of that delegate's withdrawal from such status. The alternate is registered as a voting delegate and must be issued a delegate badge before he or she can sit or vote as a member of the delegate assembly. No alternate or other person can substitute for a delegate who remains registered. Only registered voting delegates shall be entitled to make motions, debate, and vote. All HOSA registered conference attendees may observe proceedings without vote. Any person who is a guest or observer at the business session has no voting privilege. The chair has the power to request these persons to leave the meeting or to order their removal at any time during the meeting. A non-delegate has no right to appeal such an order from the chair. All original main motions and amendments must be submitted on a request for agenda time form by email to the Credentials Committee by 8 p.m. the evening prior to the business session, in which the delegate would like the motion considered. Only approved requests for agenda time forms may be presented by the Credentials Committee to the voting delegates for their consideration and action. The reason for initiating this process is to enable the voting delegates to effectively use the limited time available to conduct the necessary business at hand and to avoid the possibility of spending time on subjects that are of interest to only one chartered association. Voting delegates shall speak and debate no more than twice to a question without the consent of the delegate assembly. Voting delegates shall speak and debate the second time to a question only when all other delegates who wish to speak have spoken once to the same question. Debate shall be limited to 2 minutes per person. Extension of time may be granted by a 2/3 vote of the delegate assembly present and voting. Each voting delegate joining the meeting shall be expected to respect the following fellow delegates while they are in debate over a question or while they have the floor. Notices for announcement to the meeting shall be in writing, signed by the person or proper representative of the person, under whose authority the announcement is issued and shall be presented to the president. Any persons who attend the meeting shall conduct oneself in such a manner as to be accredited to the HOSA organization. Any person not displaying exemplary behavior shall be subjected to removal by order of the presiding officer. The rules of order for this annual HOSA conference shall be those as stated in the adopted conference rules and any special rules otherwise adopted. The rules contained in the current edition of Robert's Rules of Orders, newly revised, shall govern this conference in all cases to which they are applicable and in which they are not inconsistent with these conference rules or any special rules otherwise adopted. If it is necessary to take a vote to amend or rescind in an individual conference rule after its adoption, the vote for its adoption will require a 2/3 vote by the delegate assembly present and voting. By the direction of the Rules and Arbitration Committee, I move the adoption of HOSA's 2021 virtual conference rules.
Since the motion is from a committee, a second is not required. Are you ready for the question? The question before the Assembly is the adoption of HOSA's 2021 virtual conference rules as read. The chair recognizes Annika Kirsch from South Carolina.
Yes,
You raised your hand to seek recognition from the chair.
that was my bad. So sorry.
No worries. This motion requires a 2/3 vote. We will again use the raise hand icon. All those in favor, please use the raise hand icon to vote on this motion. Candidates, please do not vote for this. You are not delegates, you are candidates. So please lower your hand if you've already raised it. Voting delegates, please do not lower your hands until we lower them for you. If you are in favor of this motion, please use the raise hand icon. Thank you. All those opposed, please use the raise hand icon. Thank you. With the 2/3 vote in the affirmative, HOSA's 2021 conference rules are adopted as read. The chair recognizes the chairman of the Rules and Arbitrations Committee, Shreya Shrestha.
Due to the unique nature of holding this business session by electronic means, the special rules previously reviewed by the chair in the informal meeting orientation are proposed by the Rules and Arbitration Committee to conduct this delegate assembly. Special rules for virtual meetings. Voting delegates must remain signed in to the virtual meeting using their full name, division, and abbreviated state for recognition and inclusion in the minutes. Voting delegates must also participate for the full duration of the meeting, which concludes with the official announcement of the new Executive Council team. In the event of a runoff, you must stay online in order to vote again. Voting delegates are responsible for their connection to the internet and teleconference. No action will be invalidated on the grounds that the loss of or poor quality of a member's individual connection prevented their participation in the business session, provided that at least a quorum of members was connected and the appropriate voting threshold was achieved. Voting delegates must have a charged cell phone or tablet to use to vote. Voting will be done via the Simply Voting platform. The chair may cause or direct the temporary disconnection or muting of a person's connection if it is causing undue interference with the electronic meeting. The chair's decision to do so will be announced during the meeting and recorded in the minutes. To seek recognition by the chair, a voting delegate will use their raise hand icon. Upon recognition of a member, the chair will lower all raise hand icons. A voting delegate intending to make a main motion or to offer an amendment may not do so during the business session, as the last possible time to submit a main motion or amendment is 8 p.m. Thursday evening. Please refer to your voting delegate packet for more information. Voting delegates may still make subsidiary motions, incidental of order, and privileged motions during the business session, using the Q&A window once acknowledged by the chair. The Q&A window is restricted to the following purposes: to provide a link to the document that cannot be displayed on the screen, for voting information, any nominations from the floor, any purpose stated in Special Rule 6. The use of the chat window will be disabled to allow for a more efficient and direct manner of answering questions. Instead, please direct questions to the Q&A window located on your lower Zoom panel. By direction of the Rules and Arbitration Committee, I move the adoption of the special rules for virtual meetings.
Since the motion is from a committee, a second is not required. Are you ready for the question? The question before the Assembly is the adoption of the special rules for virtual meetings. This motion requires a 2/3 vote. We will again use the raise hand icon to vote. All those in favor, please use the raise hand icon. Thank you. All those opposed, please use the raise hand icon. With 2/3 of delegates voting in the affirmative, HOSA's 2021 special rules for electronic meetings are adopted as read. The agenda for today's meeting was included in your voting delegate packet. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Please welcome Jim Scott, the Chair-elect of the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors, who will give the bylaws and policy report. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. At the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors official board meeting on Saturday, January 9th, 2021 in Southlake, Texas, there were no motions passed regarding amendments to the HOSA bylaws that require a motion to be brought before the HOSA Delegate Assembly at this time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair-elect. Sritran Pusala, HOSA's President-elect, will present the 2021 Nominating Committee report.
Honorable Chair and esteemed delegates, the nominating committee functioned to interview all qualified applicants on June 21st, 2021. On behalf of this, we are proud to present the following candidates who have met all requirements in accordance to Article 4, Section 6 of the HOSA bylaws. The candidates for secondary board representative are Dorian Ho, Krishna Martinez, Nihar Tucker, Milad Zayai. The candidates for post-secondary collegiate board representative are Anna Feng, Alekia Kondragunta, Keegan Shropshire. The candidates for post-secondary collegiate vice president are Alexis Grasso, Deepika Gunturu, Akash Kotian. The candidates for Western Region vice president are Tom Poonen, Hannah Zia. The candidates for Central Region vice president are Hannah Eckstein, Dawn Monroe, Carrie Elaine Smith, Madeline Yerema. The candidates for Eastern Region Vice President are Sophia Bonfigli, Rasagna Vupala, Angelina Yu. Finally, the candidates for President-elect are Kartik Tyagi, Varshika Toju.
Thank you, Sritran, for the nominating committee's report. Delegates, you have heard the nominating committee's report, which recommends a slate of candidates for the Executive Council. According to the HOSA bylaws, Article 4, Section 6, this nominating committee shall interview qualified candidates and shall nominate no more than 5 candidates for each secondary and post-secondary collegiate office. Candidates may also be nominated from the floor if they have met the qualifying requirements. If you wish to nominate a candidate for a specific position, please use the raise hand icon when it is called. The chair will recognize you and ask you to type the nomination in the Q&A box. Are there any nominations from the floor for the office of President-elect? Hearing no further nominations, the office of President-elect nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for Eastern Region Vice President? Hearing no further nominations for the office of Eastern Region Vice President, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for Central Region Vice President? Hearing no further nominations for the office of Central Region Vice President, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for Western Region Vice President? Hearing no further nominations for the office of Western Region Vice President, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for post-secondary collegiate vice president? Hearing no further nominations for the office of post-secondary collegiate vice president, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for secondary board representative? Hearing no further nominations for the office of secondary board representative, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for post-secondary collegiate board representative? Hearing no further nominations for the office of post-secondary collegiate board representative, nominations are closed. Hearing no further nominations, nominations are closed for the 2021-2022 HOSA Executive Council. Before we begin the new business, may I remind the voting delegates of the conference rules regarding debate on a motion. Voting delegates shall speak in debate no more than twice to a question without the consent of the delegate assembly. Voting delegates shall speak in debate the second time to a question only when all other delegates who wish to speak have spoken once to the same question. Debate shall be limited to 2 minutes per person. Extension of time may be granted by a 2/3 vote of the delegate assembly present and voting. It is expected that each voting delegate at the conference be respectful to fellow delegates while they are in debate over a question or while they have the floor. I now open the floor for the transaction of new business. Delegates, you previously heard the nominating committee's report. The voting process will take place immediately following the campaign speeches. We will now begin the campaign speeches. Candidates have submitted a 2-minute campaign speech video for viewing. I will announce the candidate's name prior to each video. We will now proceed with the presentation of the secondary board representative candidates. The first candidate is Dorian Ho.
2 years ago, while competing in medical spelling at ILC, I was confronted with a word I'd never heard before: metamorphopsia. I didn't know what it meant. Turns out, it's when you see straight lines as curvy. But years later, I figured there might be a hidden meaning to that word: metamorphopsia. Meta means change, morph means form, and opsia means vision. Roughly translated, a progressive change in vision. Or, how I like to see it, a vision of progressive change. To me, metamorphopsia means a disruption to the expected, a new way of looking at the world around me, where I see change among constancy. When I look at this organization, I see the immense progress made by leaders past, and I envision the future we can pave by broadening access and opportunity for all of our members. A future that ensures that any member, regardless of background, can experience their first conference or win their first medal through the creation of opportunity grants at the national level. A future that prioritizes founding middle school chapters around the nation, just as my team and I did in building NJ HOSA's middle school division from the ground up. And a future that links sponsorship and scholarship to achievement, just as we did for New Jersey in partnering with Catch My Breath. But what distinguishes a vision from a hallucination is the number of people who believe in it. Metamorphopsia is a hard word to spell and even harder to remember. Instead, just think Ho, Torian Ho, for HOSA. I make up one half and you make up the other. Together, hand in hand, and eye to eye, let's bring our vision to life.
The next candidate for Secondary Board Representative, Prishna Martinez.
Close your eyes and imagine. Imagine a shy little 5-year-old girl, the tallest in her class, with straight dark brown hair, 2 clumsy left feet, and big brown eyes full of eagerness and hope. It's her first day of dance lessons, and she's at the back of the class, following along with the teacher's demonstrations, giggling until, oh no, she could sense it before it happened as her right leg went too far to the left side, and she fell. As a result, I felt discouraged and firmly believed that I could never dance like some of the role models who had come before me. But after various efforts and several unruly attempts, I can now land the perfect twirl with my eyes closed. Similarly, when I first began watching some of HOSA's greatest role models transform our beloved organization and take it to increasingly amazing lengths, I was afraid that I could never be like them because of all the stumbles and all the struggles I seemed to face. Some days I would feel myself being lifted up into the air, only to fall over and over again. However, I have come to realize that it is because of these falls and it is because of these struggles that I feel ready to serve alongside HOSA's best. I learned that each mistake was an opportunity for me to stand up again, embracing the fact that this was the dance of life. Taking on opportunities for service as a state officer and now as an executive council candidate. Here's that same little girl, this time all grown up, but with the same dark brown hair, the same big brown eyes full of determination and hope. This time, I am faced with taking one of the most important leaps into leadership that I have ever taken. I feel ready. My body's up in the air, my feet are extended, my arms are above my head. Do I land? I guess that's up to all of you. My name is Prishna Martinez, and I look forward to serving you.
The next candidate for for the Secondary Board Representative is Nihar Thakar.
I'm running for Executive Council. I'll make it go far. All you have to do is vote Nihar Thakar. My goals are as simple as 1, 2, and 3. So, let me tell you, listen to me. First, I want to increase the diversification of all the various healthcare fields, call that representation. We'll make HOSA better than ever before and inspire healthcare professionals even more. Hi, I'm Nihar Thakar, and I'm running to be on your Executive Council from North Carolina. Members of HOSA always look forward to the annual International Leadership Conference. This is a time to meet other people who are as passionate as you, compete in an event that you have diligently prepared for, and then spend a few days learning about the healthcare world. The healthcare world has so many avenues, many of which are unexplored by most. My goal is to increase the knowledge and understanding of fields such as pharmacy, dentistry, veterinary science, and others that have so much potential to grow and resonate with our members. Additionally, I have seen the excitement and enthusiasm that HOSA members bring to local, state, and international conferences. This excitement translates to effort towards a career in the health sciences. My goal is to maintain this uplifting spirit so that HOSA can inspire thousands of other students just like HOSA inspired me. Not only my leadership skills, but also my passion for healthcare and helping my community will allow me to contribute to the Executive Council to even perform even better deeds in the future. I'm running for Executive Council. I'll make it go far. All you have to do is vote Nihar Thakar.
The final candidate for the office of Secondary Board Representative is Milad Zaii.
Hello, voting delegates. I'm Milad Zaii. Today, June 25th, is a special day. Not only is it the HOSA business session, but it is also National Strawberry Parfait Day. And because of this special occasion, I have devised HOSA's first parfait plan. First, as with the foundation of any good parfait, you need a foundation of yogurt. The foundation of HOSA lies in our collective passion for healthcare. And where does this passion begin? Our middle school division. I intend on building new and engaging and innovative communities for them to truly make them interested in healthcare and to show them that healthcare isn't just reading textbooks. It's so much more, and how HOSA can help them reach their goals. Second, the sweetness and the tartness of strawberries add an amazing punch to every parfait, and the community of HOSA is what makes HOSA's heart. I promise you that I will work diligently to create an inclusive and a kind HOSA community for everyone. My DMs and my email will always be open for you, be it on something cool you saw on Pinterest or a question you have on HOSA. Finally, and my personal favorite part, the granola on the top of the parfait. For me, leadership is one of the most important and core elements of HOSA, but I remember in my freshman year, I never even saw the executive council. I plan on changing this. Leadership is meant to be seen, to be heard, not to be seen through a textbook. I intend on pioneering virtual meet and greet sessions between members like you and executive council members to hear your comments and answer your questions. In short, I'm Milad Ziai. I like HOSA, parfaits, and members like you, and it would be my honor to represent you. Thank you.
Thank you to the candidates for the secondary board representative position. The candidates for post-secondary collegiate board representative. First, Anna Fang.
There's something that defines every generation. My grandparents can tell stories about world wars. My parents can be in the moon. We have 2020. We will sit in rocking chairs and tell our grandchildren about masks and Zoom weddings and the year we spent inside. A year that almost felt lost. Because for many of us, we lost senior nights, our last basketball game, the HOSA conference we've been looking forward to all year. It's easy to see this past year as missed opportunities, moments that should have been or would have been. But we're young. We're so young that the idea that we lost the chance to do anything is ridiculous. Instead of thinking about what we should have done or would have done, we have so much time to think about what we can do for our friends, our family, and for the community around us. Writing articles about chapter accomplishments, speaking to HOSA members all around the world. Watching you all serve our community has always inspired me to do the same. With you all, I found my community. Whether it's at a chapter meeting of 10 or a conference of 10,000, I've always been surrounded by amazing people who've become lifelong friends. This year, I'm running for HOSA Executive Council to continue to give back to an organization that's given me so much. To help other HOSA members grow into better leaders and find their own community, like I did. We have to remember that we have our whole lives ahead of us to become incredible future health professionals. That we have our whole lives to create, invent, and explore. When we sit in our rocking chairs in 2071, we'll also tell our grandchildren that we went on to accomplish amazing things, and that our relentless perseverance this past year was only testimony to that. Therefore, by serving on your executive council, I would be honored to represent each and every one of you as we begin new beginnings.
The next candidate for the office of post-secondary collegiate board representative is Alikia Kundragunta.
Thank you. My name is Alikia Kundragunta, and I'm proud to be an executive council candidate. Delegates and members, have you ever had a class scheduling error happen at your school? Well, I have, and it happened to me the day before my freshman year of high school. I was signed up for an art class, and I had to call my counselor and change it at the last minute. The next morning, I walked into Principles of Biomedical Sciences, where I met my teacher and my HOSA advisor of the next 4 years. I didn't know at the time, but that was the most life-changing decision that I have ever made. Without it, I would not have had the opportunity to learn about health sciences, serve as a leader, or have the privilege of speaking to you today. HOSA has taught me the importance and the value of servant leadership, and has given me the opportunity to work at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center Emergency Department. One patient that I will never forget, who I will call John Doe, had been troubled with alcoholism and addiction to various substances for many years. He had been in and out of homeless shelters with no hope or will to keep going. I spoke with him for an hour and a half, and I was actually able to convince him to get into treatment in which he was receiving mental health services, as well as provided a safe and welcoming home to uplift and encourage him to stay sober. Through HOSA, members have the ability to implement our core values of learning, leading, serving, and innovating in similar life-changing situations. We are given the best tools and opportunities to unlock our potential. With your vote and support, we can continue to build the momentum and enthusiasm of HOSA-Future health professionals in our communities, states, and internationally. Again, my name is Alekia Kondragunta, and I ask for your vote to serve as a member of your Executive Council. Thank you.
Annika, if you have a question, please put it in the Q&A box. Your next candidate for post-secondary collegiate board representative is Keegan Shropshire.
When I reflect on HOSA leaders, I like to think of the acronym CAKE: communication, authenticity, knowledge, and empathy. Successful leaders in HOSA are able to communicate their ideas, be original and creative, have a true understanding of HOSA and its core values, and must possess compassion and a desire to understand and respect others. Hi, HOSA. My name is Keegan Shropshire, and I'm so excited to run to be part of your next HOSA Executive Council and exhibit the true meaning of CAKE. For the past 6 years, I've been writing my HOSA story page by page and chapter by chapter, including serving as a local HOSA officer at my high school, as well as serving 2 state office terms with South Carolina HOSA. Other than growing as a leader, I was involved in the competitive events program, where I was able to travel to various HOSA leadership conferences, and at those conferences, I was able to network with other HOSA members. I can genuinely say these past 6 years that my love and passion for HOSA has grown each and every year. I'm beyond amazed at the growth that I've seen in HOSA, such as development of our middle school level and the spread of the HOSA love internationally. As a collegiate member of HOSA, I understand the struggle of running a post-secondary or collegiate HOSA chapter. It can be very challenging at times, primarily because we don't have as much guidance from HOSA advisors as at the secondary level, and or as many activities designed specifically for our post-secondary age group. I'm here to advocate for the well-being of all HOSA members, including our post-secondary collegiate members. That being said, one of my biggest goals if elected would be to grow and to better develop our post-secondary collegiate level of HOSA by providing resources to those chapters to be successful as possible. I would really appreciate your strong consideration and support, and I hope you can trust me to showcase the acronym CAKE through my communication, authenticity, knowledge, and empathy as I turn the page onto the next chapter of my HOSA story, of being your next HOSA Executive Council member. Let's get ready to unlock our potentials together as future health professionals. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Now for the office of Western Region Vice President. Your first candidate is Tom Poonen.
Imagine a jigsaw puzzle. Various pieces of different sizes and shapes, intended to create a unified picture in the end. Each piece is indispensable in achieving this success, and without one, the entire puzzle is incomplete. HOSA members, each of us is a puzzle piece. Diverse all throughout, yet unified by our common passion for healthcare. We must work together in order to fulfill our roles as future health professionals. Hello, my name is Tom Poonen, and through HOSA, I discovered my role as a piece in a greater puzzle. Whether volunteering at local blood drives or conducting leadership conferences, I realized that meaningful service can leave a lasting impact on a community. In the HOSA Executive Council, I want to continue inspiring our members, strengthening each individual division while uniting us all together as a whole. I promise to continue advocating for increased opportunities and events for our members, Ensure Imagine opportunities and events for our members, ensuring that everyone receives the HOSA experience that we all know and love. And most importantly, I will be a voice for you, representing the ideas and values of our student body at the international stage. As we all continue towards healthcare, there are many moving parts, and they might not all fall into place. But as one HOSA, we can work together and grow with one another, and we will come one step closer to finishing our puzzle. Thank you.
The next candidate for Western Region Vice President is Hannah Zia.
Most of us spend our entire lives building our own personal community that can provide us a sense of comfort, support, and belonging. We search for our community members in schools, clubs, workplaces, and organizations. The outer edge of my community is built from the support and comfort of my teammates, orchestra members, and classmates. But if it wasn't for one faithful afternoon when I stepped into the multi-purpose room, I wouldn't have found the innermost core of my community that has allowed me to find my identity, HOSA. After attending a few chapter meetings and meeting with members of all different grade levels, I finally felt a sense of belonging. I was able to talk freely, joke around, and be understood by those that were most like me. Although we all come from different backgrounds, our shared traits and strong core values has made it easy for me to bond with other HOSA members. This intense and warm feeling of community has given me the encouragement to tackle challenges and achieve goals. I remember seeing my HOSA chapter, my community, from the stage of our state leadership conference, cheering me on as I won my first medal. I remember all of the long bus rides that we had to go on to attend leadership trainings and conferences, and how much fun we had along the way. I think all of us can feel these moments and realize that our belonging and identity lies within our HOSA community. As a member of the Executive Council, I will strive for HOSA to uphold its power of being a selfless and supportive community to all HOSA members. My name is Hannah Zia, and it would be an honor to become a greater part of your community and to give you a stronger sense of belonging, support, and friendship.
Thank you, candidates for the office of Western Region Vice President. We will now move on for the candidates of Central Region Vice President. Your first candidate, Hannah Eckstein.
Hello, everyone. It's Hannah Eckstein. First and foremost, thank you for the time you've spent with me these past few weeks, from talking to me in meet and greets, to reading my resume, to watching my video. And in that video, I promised that I would advance this organization. And here's how I'll do just that. First, social media. The most effective way to grow and develop our membership is through our online presence. By pursuing verification and creating a cohesive and purposeful page, we can create an even greater impact than we are right now. Second, collaboration. It has been amazing this past year watching all of your state chapters thrive, even through the most difficult of times. Now it's time to share how you overcame all of those challenges. From specific sessions at GLA to discuss the issues we all face, to a group chat of the leaders that I represent, I promise to foster communication and collaboration across HOSA. Third, personal connections. While every leader who stands before you today is highly qualified for this position, you will not find someone who cares more about each HOSA member's happiness and progress more than me. Immediately upon my election, I will start creating those personal connections with state advisors, state presidents, and of course, my fellow executive council members. And I will lead the way in creating a bond between us and your state better than ever seen before. Finally, HOSA, I will actively serve you to the greatest of my ability. You are my home, my inspiration, and my family. There is nothing that I wouldn't do to see each of you, whether you're a senior state president or a first-year local member, be successful in HOSA and beyond. Please, voting delegates, allow me to serve on this year's Executive Council because Hannah organizes, supports, and advances. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and your vote.
Your next candidate for the office of Central Region Vice President is Dawn Monroe.
Hello, my name is Dawn Monroe. I am a fourth-year HOSA member from Mississippi. My HOSA journey started when I joined my high school's healthcare academy on the vague idea that I wanted to go into medicine. It was my version of testing the waters of my future. My healthcare teacher, who saw something in me that I could not yet feel myself, signed me up for HOSA. That flicker she saw in me has since grown immensely into a soul-shaking drive to strive for a career in medicine, and it's because of HOSA. I started in HOSA as a nervous freshman with no idea what I was doing at the moment or any time in the future. As I stood on the stage at that district conference receiving my first HOSA award, my whole body shook with excitement, pride, and also fear. As I talk to you now, I've received 5 HOSA awards at the state and district level, 4 of them being first place awards. I've attended 2 international leadership conferences, and I've served as Central District Vice President for Mississippi HOSA. Over the past 4 years, HOSA has given me so much. It has cultivated my confidence by allowing me to take the reins and pull my life in the direction I wanted. It taught me to be a leader that was fierce and unafraid. This organization gave me a team, or more of a family of amazing, dedicated future health professionals who I share goal and values with. HOSA gave me a purpose. I want to help people, and that's always what I've wanted to do. It's why I want to be a doctor. HOSA shined a light on the world of medicine, and it gave me the tools to reach for the life and career I wanted. As I graduate high school and step into the next phase of life and begin my pursuit of higher education, I reflect and truly realize that HOSA was a guiding light to leading me to where I am in my journey to become a healthcare professional. I'm running for executive council in the hope that I can provide the same guiding light to another generation of future health professionals. The skills and lessons that I learned through HOSA were life-changing, and I want to pass them on in order to help more students unlock their potential. HOSA is my passion, and I hope you give me a chance to serve the organization I hold so close to my heart. Thank you.
The next candidate for the office of Central Region Vice President is Carrie Elaine Smith.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carrie Elaine Smith, and I am from Dothan, Alabama, the peanut capital of the world. Now, I would like all of you to take a moment and close your eyes, put out your hands, and cup them towards the sky. Imagine you have a ball of light in your hands. Now, it could be any color, any size, but it is uniquely yours. That ball of light represents your passions, and the only way to grow it is to feed it. Now, my entire life has been dedicated to feeding my ball of light, and I made multiple attempts. I have been in 14 plays, 2 swim teams, and was the president of my show choir. And though I loved these activities, they were never enough. Sure, my ball of light grew a little bit, but it never had a permanent change. I needed something more. But then, I found HOSA. I found all of you. I loved the feeling of family, the push for innovation, and the knowledge of knowing that I had found a place to call my home. And HOSA even helped me in my development towards my future. Because of my state officer role for Alabama last year, I stuck out from the crowd, and I was able to earn a position on the technical staff of this very veterinary clinic. Just last week, I was able to watch a pit bull who had a fully broken leg have a plate be put in surgically and then be completely healed this week. And I fell in love. I knew that veterinary science was the place for me. And because HOSA found my passion for life, I want to return the favor. As a part of your executive council, I would want to create that feeling of family for everyone and help others find their balls of light. For when all of our balls of light come together, we are able to shine so bright to where everyone has to look at HOSA in awe.
So let's show the world how HOSA is changing lives together. Thank you.
Your next candidate for the office of Central Region Vice President is Madeline Urema.
Hi, my name is Madeline Urema, but feel free to call me Maddie. I'm a 5th-year HOSA member and a former Michigan HOSA State Officer hoping to earn your vote to serve on your HOSA Executive Council. Before I get too far ahead of myself, though, I should probably tell you a short story about my best friend and I. When I moved to Armada, a small rural community here in Michigan, I was terrified I wouldn't be able to make new friends since everyone has grown up around each other for generations. I was happily surprised when a few weeks into the school year, talks of another new middle schooler filled the air who had a well-known sister in the high school, and they were supposedly not only interested in healthcare and volunteering, but in having fun and making new friends just like I was. When we met, I was amazed at how well we hit it off. They taught me how to make new friends no matter what city we were in or how far away the other people lived. They taught me how to give back to my community in need, and they taught me to never give up and to try even harder for everything that I do. I should probably explain to you that this friend is no other than HOSA, and when it was introduced to me as an 8th grader, I never thought it would impact me as much as it has. I gained friends on different continents, networked at WLA, and given back to a bunch of organizations. I've also learned how to give back to my competitions and elections and how to come back even stronger. As a 5th-year HOSA member, a past Michigan HOSA State Officer, and a leader in both middle school and high school chapters, I've been dedicated to maintaining my friendship in HOSA and making it even better for those that I serve. If elected to your Executive Council, I hope to give my dear friend HOSA what it's given me for the past 5 years. From 8th grade to now, I've met new people and exchanged ideas that would help me unlock the potential that HOSA has. As an Executive Council member, I try to initiate an online platform for state and international conferences so that lower-income students and schools have the opportunity to compete and fall in love with HOSA like we have. I'd also strive to increase the numbers of the middle school chapters through mentorship programs and outreach, since they're the future leaders of our great organization. I hope that I can help serve both you and our mutual friend HOSA, so please don't let the opportunity go by. Vote for Madeline Y.
Thank you, candidates. Now for the office of Eastern Region Vice President. Your first candidate is Sophia Bonfigli.
Hi, I'm Sophia Bonfigli. My love for HOSA is defined by one thing: the people. When I first joined my high school chapter, it was my fellow members and advisors that helped pull me out of my shell and see what I was capable of. At the International Leadership Conference, it was the guy from Texas or the girl from Canada that told me the most fascinating stories and left me with a tangible memory in the form of a pin. When I became the state president for Delaware, it was the enthusiasm of our middle school members who weren't sure if they wanted to be a dermatologist or an interior designer, but they knew they loved HOSA. All these people taught me that leadership is more than just a title. It's the ability to influence people, to discover where they shine and help that part of them to flourish, to challenge them to grow into a leader themselves. I've spent years honing my ability to see these things in others and guide them to a more brilliant version of themselves. HOSA gave me something to be passionate about, a network of people with similar interests to me, leadership opportunities, and a place to foster my skills and prepare for a future in healthcare. I want others to get as much as possible out of the organization and realize the scope of what we're doing. We are the future of healthcare, and I want everyone to know. I know that as a member of the Executive Council, I'll be able to spread my reach and influence more current and potential members. I want to interact more directly with state officers and local chapters. I want to see more potential members learning and getting involved with the organization. I want those already in HOSA to get the most out of it and unlock their potential. And I'm anything but a dreamer. I'm a doer. Through my work as a state officer and in other organizations, I've learned what it really means to see things to the end and actualize big ideas. It takes passion, creativity, determination, and experience. But it also takes less glamorous skills like organization, time management, paperwork, and knowing when to go back to the drawing board. So in the words of Ayn Rand, the question isn't who's gonna let me, it's who's gonna stop me.
Your next candidate for the office of Eastern Region Vice President is Rasagna Bupala.
HOSA, a land of growth, diversity, and potential. A land where learning, leading, serving, and innovating are omnipresent. A land where future health professionals emerge to inspire the world. This is our community, and this is us. Since 1976, HOSA has been fostering leadership, competition, and service among its members. In my 6-year association with this organization, whether it be the events I competed in, workshops I attended, service I provided, or connections I've developed, I've grown as an individual and defined my purpose: to not only lead to you, but to lead along with you. This past year has been rough for the entire world, but we all have proven that there is an unbreakable power in unity and diversity. So let us embrace our differences and come together to build a stronger community. As your HOSA Executive Council member leader, I hope to build our HOSA community further together by fostering friendly competitions between state charters, establishing HOSA-related social media challenges, expanding our middle school outreach, and recognizing future health professionals who already have made an impact on their communities. As your leader, I will ensure that your HOSA journeys are just as memorable as they are for me. HOSA empowers every one of you to unlock your full potential. And as your leader, I will ensure that your potential shines. HOSA, I am here for you, and I always will be. In the end, and together, we will make it happen and we will fight. We'll roster for HOSA to make this happen. Thank you.
The final candidate for the office of Eastern Region Vice President, Angelina Yu.
Have you ever considered how big the sun is? Not like how I see it now in the sky or through a telescope, but if it were steps away from you. Think about it. Personally, each time I've tried to come up with an answer, I found myself blocked by one factor. I can never imagine the size of the sun without an object for reference. Without something for scale, all I can picture is a never-ending field of bright white. Sure, 1.3 million Earths can fit inside the sun, but as a person who's never seen the entire Earth, that leaves me no closer to the answer than before. But what if a familiar reference point could be used? A car, a house, a person? Just as mental images are limited and require a visual reference to be understood, a leader has limitations to their abilities and needs mentors and teammates to assist them in viewing the bigger picture. Now, when tasked with a larger vision or project, I've learned to zoom into the details and rely on my fellow HOSA leaders to widen my perspective. Whether it be catapulting New Jersey's middle school division for the past 2 years or revamping event materials with intuitive design in mind, each experience has allowed me to see the value of consulting various teammates and experts. So, in the upcoming year, allow me to become a reference in your HOSA journey by providing resources, guidance, and a shoulder to lean on. I hope to foster a community for creatives focused on direct connections with general members and streamline the competitive event preparation process. And as the sun sets as my time as New Jersey's president, I look forward to the dawn of a new way to serve this organization as a member of the HOSA Executive Council. Oh, and if you're wondering, 220 octillion Angelinas can fit into the sun. That's 28 zeros.
Thank you, candidates. Now for the office of Post-Secondary Collegiate Vice President. Your first candidate is Alexis Grasso.
What has 4 letters and makes us the most happy? Food. The food we eat and the recipes that make them help us celebrate, comfort, and nourish. Just like food, through HOSA we get to celebrate our successes, comfort our career journeys, and nourish our communities through service. If HOSA is just like food, then what makes up the HOSA recipe? Our competitors are the spices bringing heat to their events. Our local chapters are the veggies providing for organic growth. Our HOSA hype is the fruit, allowing for a sweet conference season. Together, all 260,000 of our ingredients combine to form a melting pot of the future of medicine. A future that celebrates diversity, craves potential, and one that you'll always have a global family to share a meal with. As your next executive council member, I don't want to just stir the pot. Instead, dish out the resources for you to succeed. For the past 6 years, I've been perfecting my HOSA recipe. I've medaled internationally, served at the local, area, and state level. I've even worked on the front lines. However, I've come to learn that it's not the steps of a recipe that create a good bite, but the love that is sprinkled in. Over the years, I've allowed HOSA to be the one thing that defines me. My love and dedication for this organization is not just a when it's convenient snack, but a full course meal with dessert at the end. I'm Alexis Grasso, and with my experience in healthcare, HOSA, and leadership, I know that serving on your executive council comes with a huge plate of responsibilities. But when it comes to HOSA, I like to eat.
Next candidate for the office of Post-Secondary Collegiate Vice President, Deepika Gunturu.
We were told we would be back together by the end of spring break. Lockdown was supposed to be just 1 month, but instead here we are, more than a year later, finally recovering and reopening. In an attempt to keep us hopeful of change, uncertain promises were made to us by the leaders we counted on, but words were not kept, and broken oaths led to broken hearts and broken faith. Good afternoon, HOSA. I plan to do a few things today, and I definitely don't plan to do a few others. I refuse to make promises I am not certain I can keep, and I refuse to offer you anything I don't sincerely think I can achieve by the end of my term. I do, however, plan to make a difference in the following 3 ways. First, grow chapters at the university level by at least 10% by giving state officers personalized goals for growth. Second, connect students to more virtual shadowing opportunities by partnering with health professionals. And third, increase the number of graduated students joining HOSA's alumni network. I am certain that my plan for HOSA can take our organization to the next level. However, I am here to serve you. So I want to hear your HOSA goals. I want to hear how I can take you to the next level. Over the next 12 months, my goal is to ensure you have the opportunities to lead, learn, serve, and innovate so you can continue to unlock your potential. As an executive council member, your agenda will become my agenda. And while I cannot promise you a HOSA identical to pre-COVID, I can promise you bridges built, a hand to hold, and silence when you speak. The experience I bring as Virginia's post-secondary collegiate representative of 2 years, my love for HOSA, and my vision to make this generation of rising health professionals the strongest yet is why I am asking for your vote. My name is Deepika Gunturu, and it would be my greatest honor and privilege to represent your voice this year. Thank you.
The final candidate for the office of Post-Secondary Collegiate Vice President is Akash.
Blankets. A seemingly ordinary household item at first glance, but through the eyes of our 5-year-old selves, they become so much more. When I was younger, perhaps like many of you, I used to build rocket ships out of blankets and travel the universe across time and multiple dimensions. Blanket forts were our portals to different worlds, how we were able to explore the impossible. As children, our minds were free from the constraints of the world and solely guided by the hands of our innate wonder and imagination. With our limited constructional capabilities, we managed to throw together our favorite Mickey Mouse blankets, tie them to a couch or whatever else was close by, and crossed our fingers, hoping it didn't collapse. It's easy for us to now look at this cute but poor excuse for a fort as simply what it is, a couple blankets and a couch. But our 5-year-old minds could transcend the bare physical image before us and visualize endless possibilities. Our curiosity and zeal for risk-taking meant we could fly on top of a pterodactyl, drill to the center of the earth, and perhaps find ourselves on stage next year at ILC. The blankets, no longer merely blankets. This is how I envision HOSA. With the intrinsic youthful values of curiosity and wonder, as well as the experience of a collegiate member, I see more than just the blankets of HOSA. I see the opportunity to effect substantial change, to reimagine how we approach strategic and fruitful industry partnerships for our members, to rejuvenate HOSA's membership base after the past year's decline, and to inspire an atmosphere of open communication and collaboration. HOSA members, even if you aren't joining us from your bedroom, you might be steps away from your nearest blanket. As you determine the future of HOSA, I challenge you all to see beyond the blankets and embrace your inner child with me, Akash Kotian, as a member of your HOSA Executive Council.
Thank you, candidates. And now for the candidates of the office of President-elect. Varsha Katoju.
Spoken word poetry. It's proven to be a unique display of the power of words in harmony with the delivery of a speech. So, a bit of a stretch, but HOSA, here's my spoken word for you. We see terror in our world where an illness took to the air. You'll all agree when I say that COVID-19 is far from there. Doctors, nurses needed everywhere, but too scarce they were to keep up the quality of care. So HOSA will take up the dare to replenish the front lines of healthcare. Believe in me to pass this test, to take my experiences from Florida HOSA's best, to deliver a term that will let the membership see what the potential of HOSA is and can possibly be. Let's help the middle school division with high school programming. Let's help the secondary division with college planning. Let's help the post-secondary division with a professional school advising upgrade. And let's make conferences more accessible with financial aid. I see a path for HOSA where kids are inspired to be the next generation of frontline healthcare workers that let us all breathe. Leadership is important, but leaders can only lead with the support of a membership just as passionate to succeed. So give me this opportunity and cast your vote for me, Varsha Katoju, for your next Executive Council member, and I promise you that we will have a year to remember. Thank you.
The next candidate for the office of President-elect, Kartik Tyagi.
Hi, my name's Kartik Tyagi, and today I want to share with you that we are at a crossroads. We're at a crossroads as future health professionals, living in a world that looks to health and healthcare as the solution, as something that possesses a capacity to heal, inspiring and empowering us, bringing hope and renewed faith to those we love most. And so now, today, we must decide whether to embrace what it is the future has for us, building upon the insights gained from our shared experiences, or to simply stay the course. We must decide this because whether we like it or not, whether we are prepared for it or not, whether we find it comforting or not, we, you and I, are what is next. That's us. We are the next generation of healthcare. And so the question is not one of probabilities, but of our collective possibility, not of perfection, but of passion. It's not one of prominence, but of potential. For me, it would be a true honor to not only serve each and every one of you, but continue on that path forward. It's why I am proud today, more than ever before, to be a member of HOSA, Future Health Professionals. So HOSA, let's look forward. Let's move forward together. Let's take on this new HOSA year with new ambition, with forward-moving aspiration, with an affirmation of our own ability grounded in our shared adaptability. HOSA, we are at a crossroads. So what do you say? Let's do this.
Thank you to all candidates for your speeches and your desire to serve on HOSA Executive Council. Delegates, we will now proceed with the election process for the 2021-2022 Executive Council candidates presented to you today. You will be using an e-voting platform for HOSA's voting process. Candidate ballots have been assigned by division for each voting delegate. Secondary voting delegates will be presented with only the secondary officer candidates, president-elect and president. Post-secondary collegiate delegates will be presented with only the post-secondary collegiate officer candidate positions and the offices of president-elect and president. The candidates are listed under each office alphabetically by last name. You may only mark one choice for each office. You will not be able to make more than one selection for each office. After marking the ballot, please verify your selections and press submit. Shortly, you should be receiving your unique voting delegate identification and password via email. Voting delegates should log in using their unique ID and password only. Each unique ID will be allowed only one vote. Please take out your other device, use the device that you're on right now, open up your email, and keep refreshing until you get those instructions. Also check your spam folder, your junk folder, everything like that to make sure that you get these instructions. Are there any questions? If you do have any technical difficulties during this process, please use the raise hand icon. Please be patient with those emailed instructions as they are sending to a lot of delegates at the same time. We will give you a few moments to log in to your unique voting or to receive your unique voting ID and password. I will now present each office and the names of the candidates for the office. The candidates for secondary board representative are Dorian Ho, Krishna Martinez, Nihar Thakar, and Milad Zai. The candidates for post-secondary collegiate board representative are Anna Fang, Alikia Kundragunta, and Keegan Shropshire. The candidates for post-secondary collegiate vice president are Alexis Grasso, Deepika Gunturu, and Akash Kodian. The candidates for Western Region Vice President are Tom Poonen and Hannah Zia. The candidates for Central Region Vice President are Dawn Monroe, Madeline Urema, Carrie Elaine Smith, and Hannah Eckstein. The candidates for Eastern Region Vice President are Sophia Bonfigli, Rasagna Vupala, and Angelina Yu. Finally, the candidates for President-elect are Varsha Katoju and Karthik Tyagi. Thank you to all the candidates. We wish you good luck. We will now be moving you into the waiting room to allow voting to take place. Please do not leave the waiting room. We will readmit you after voting has been concluded. Delegates, again, please be checking your email for that unique voting ID and password. The chair recognizes Elizabeth Monroe from New Mexico. Everyone, again, please be patient with that email. Check your junk folder. It is coming. Keep refreshing. We're doing everything we can to get that out to you as quickly as possible. So again, please keep refreshing your email. Log in, log out, whatever you need to do. Check your junk folder. Keep refreshing. Do not leave this meeting just because that email has not come through yet. It will come through. We just have to be patient with it. All right. As we're waiting, I just want to remind everybody in the Communicate platform, we do have our photo booth. So please go check that out after this session and tag your photo. It's a pretty exciting and unique feature that we're proud to offer this year. So after the very exciting business session concludes, hop on over to the Communicate platform and you check out that photo booth. Again, please be refreshing your email if you have not yet received your login credentials. That will be coming shortly. If you're watching the business session live, we will pause the live stream briefly while the voting takes place. We will reopen the live stream once voting is complete. Once opening back up the live stream, you may need to refresh your page to continue watching the business session where we'll announce the 2021-2022 Executive Council. Again, if you're watching the business session live on YouTube, we're going to place that live stream on a brief pause while the voting takes place. We'll reopen the live stream once voting is complete. Once we reopen that live stream, you're more than likely going to have to refresh your page just to make sure that you get the most up-to-date feed. We will be announcing the Executive Council in this session, so please, again, refresh that page if you're watching on YouTube.